Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Chapter 9 The Writing on the Wall. What's going on there? What's going on? A track now dubbed by Malfoy shouted. Argus Filch came shouldering his way through the crowd. Then he saw Mrs. Norris and fell back, clutching his face in horror. My cat! My cat! What happened to Mrs. Norris? He shrieked, and his popping eye fell on Harry. You! He screeched. You've murdered my cat! You've killed her! I'll kill you! Argus! Dumbledore had arrived on the scene, followed by a number of other teachers. In seconds, he had swept past Harry, Ron, and Hermione, and that detached Mistress Norris from the targe bracket. Come on with me, Argus, he said to Filch. You too, Mr. Potter. Mr. Weasley, Mrs. Granger. Miss Granger. Lockhart stepped forward eagerly. My office is the nearest, headmaster, just upstairs. Please feel free. Thank you, Gilderoy, said Dumbledore. The silent crowd pattered to let them pass. Lockhart's exciting and important hurried after Dumbledore. So did Professor McGonagall and Snape. As they entered Lockhart's darkened office, there was a flurry of movement across the walls. Harry saw several of Lockharts in the picture dodging out of the sight, their hairs in rollers. The real Lockhart lit the candle on his desk and stood back. Dumbledore laid Mrs. Norris and polished her face and began to examine her. Harry, Ron, and Hermione exchanged tense look and sank into chairs outside the pool of candlelight watching. The tip of Dumbledore's long crooked nose was barely an inch from Mrs. Norris's fur. He was looking at her closely through his half-moon spectacles, his long finger gently pottering and poking Mrs. Norris's fur. Professor McGonagall was bent half in shadow, her not to smile, and Lockhart was hovering around all them, making suggestions. It was definitely a curse that killed her, probably the transmorphication torture. I've seen it used many times, and when Logia was there, I knew the very counter cures that would have saved her. Lockhart's comment was punctuated by Filch's dry, racking sobs. He was slumping in a chair by the desk, unable to look at Mrs. Norris. His face slumped with his hand, much as he distracted Filch. Harry couldn't help feeling a bit sorry for him, though not really so sorry as he felt for himself. If Dumbledore believed Filch, he would be expelled for sure. Dumbledore was now muttering strange words underneath his breath and tapping Mrs. Norris with his wand. But nothing happened. She continued to look as though she had been recently stuffed. I remember something very similar happening in the I'll glad dog you, said Lockhart. A series of attacks, the full story in my autobiography. I was able to provide the townsfolk with virus amulet, which cleared the matter up at once. The photographs of Lockhart on the walls were all nodding in agreement as he talked. One of them had forgotten to remove his hairnets. At last, Dumbledore straightened up. "She's not dead, Argus," he said softly. Lockhart stopped abruptly in the middle of counting the number of murders had prevented. "Not dead," choked Filch, looking through his finger at Mrs. Norris. "But why she's all stiff and frozen." "She had been petrified," said Dumbledore. "Oh, I thought so," said Lockhart. "But how, I cannot say." "Ask him!" shrieked Filch, turning his blanched and turn-taken face to Harry. "No second ear could have done this," said Dumbledore firmly. "It wouldn't take dark magic of the most advanced. He did it. He did it." Filch spat, his pouchy face purpling. "You saw what he wrote on the wall. He found it on my office. He knows I'm a... Filch's face worked horribly. "He knows I'm a squib," he finished. "I never touched Mrs. Norris," Harry said loudly, uncomfortably aware of everyone looking at him, including all the Lockharts on the wall. "And I don't know what squib is." "Rubbish!" sneered Filch. "He signed my quick spell letter." "If I must speak, Headmaster," said Snape from the shadows, and Harry's sense of foreboding increased. He was sure nothing Snape had to say was going to do him any good. "Potter and his friends may have simply been in the wrong place at the wrong time," he said, slight sneer curling his mouth, and though he doubted it. "But we do have a set of specious circumstances here. Why was he in the upstairs corridor at all? Why wasn't he at the Halloween feast?" Harry, Ron, and Hermione all launched into an explanation about the death party. "There were hundreds of ghosts. They'll tell you we were there. But why not join the feast afterward?" he said Snape, his black eyes glaring in the candlelight. "Why go up to the corridor?" Ron and Hermione looked at Harry. Because Harry said, his heart thumping very fast. Something told him it would sound very far-fetched if he told them he had been led by a bodiless voice no one but he could hear. "Because we were tired and wanted to go to bed," he said. "Without any supper," said Snape, a thumbprint smile flickering around his gaunt face. "I didn't think ghosts provide food for living people at their parties." "We weren't hungry," said Ron loudly, as his stomach gave a huge rumble. Snape's nasty smile widened. "I suggest, Headmaster, that Potter is not being entirely truthful," he said. "It might be a good idea if he were deprived of certain privilege until he's ready to tell us the whole story. I personally feel he should be taken off the Gryffindor Quidditch team until he is ready to tell the truth. Really, Severus, said Professor McGonagall sharply, I see no reasons to stop the boy playing Quidditch. The cat wasn't hit over the head with a broomstick. There is no evidence at all that Potter has done anything wrong. Dumbledore was giving Harry a searching look. His twinkled light blue gaze made Harry feel as though he was being x-rayed. Innocent until proven guilty, Severus, he said firmly. Snape looked furious, so did Filch. My cat has been petrified, he shrieked, his eyes popping. I want to see some punishment. We will be able to cure her, Argus, said Dumbledore patiently. Professor Sprout recently managed to procure some mandrakes. As soon as they have reached their full size, I will have a potion made that will revive Mrs. Norris. I'll make it, Lockhart blurted in. I must have done it 100 times. I could whip up a mandrake restorative draught in my sleep. Excuse me, said Snape icily, but I believe I'm the potions master at this school. There was a barrier guard post. You may go, Dumbledore said to Harry, Ron, and Hermione. They went as quickly as they could without actually running. When they were a floor up from Lockhart's office, they turned into the empty classroom and closed the door quietly behind them. Harry squinted at his friends' darkened faces. Do you think I should have told them what the boys I heard? No, said Ron without hesitation. Hearing voice no one else can hear isn't a good sign, even in the wizarding world. Something is in Ron's voice made Harry ask, You do believe me, don't you? Of course I do, said Ron quickly. The whole thing's weird. What was it writing on the walls about? The chamber has been opened. What's that supposed to mean? I know, it's ring sort of bell, said Ron slowly. I think someone told me a story about secret chamber at Hogwarts once. Might have been Bill. And what on earth is a squib? Said Harry.